Hi everybody, my name is Cherie. Welcome to my channel, The Mushy Mama. If you are new here, I'm the mama to 3 little girls. I have twins who are 3 going on 4, and we also have a kindergartner, soon to be 1st grader as well. Homeschool is not ever something that we thought was on the horizon for us, but here we are a couple years in and we love it so much. I hope that it's something that we're able to continue to do for many years to come, and I'm hoping to kind of document more of that journey here on this space. In this video, I'm going to be doing an in-depth look into the homeschool lesson planner that I created for this year. We have another video up that's just a really quick flip through, but this video we're going to go in depth and really explain to you kind of why we did things a certain way. There's some pages that you'll see were done a little differently than you might be used to, and there are very specific reasons for that. I can't wait to explain all of that to you. So it's really been a journey trying to figure out how to mesh not only the organizational part of what we need in a planner, but also an aspect of beauty as well. And for me personally, if my planner, I need it every single page that I open to be beautiful or inspire me in some way, or I will get bored of it. And so I hope that this planner finds its way into the homes of the mamas that are searching for something like this. And if you're watching, I hope that's you. So let's get into it now. If you have any questions, just let me know. And please keep in mind, almost everything in here is customizable. So let me know if you have any questions at all. All right, here we go. This is our Mushy Mama Homeschool Planner. And this is our seasonal watercolor floral design. And so as we go through the planner, you'll see that the artwork will change through the seasons as well as even month to month. And the designs carry through on every single page. So that was something really important to me. It's hard to find a planner where the designs carry out every single page. And for me, if the planner is like black and white or really data heavy, my brain just won't feel inspired to use it every day. And so I need for whatever spread I'm open to be beautiful on its own, not just the cover. And so that's something that you'll see throughout the entirety of the planner. This is our fall cover design, and we have multiple different covers. We can also do custom covers. So I'm going to show you guys a few of the examples that we have already made. These are our summer florals. You can choose whatever you want to be on the front or the back if you have a quote or you want your family name to go on one of the covers. I have something special here that just means something to me. It says, "Childhood is a short season, one that is meant to be enjoyed and never rushed, and treasure it, Mama." And that's just something I want to keep in mind. So that will be on any of the planner covers that I'll be using. This is our spring. We have an additional spring option. We have a neutral winter, nice cool winter floral. We can do a more seasonal, whimsical one if you would like. We can do something like this. You could put your family name here. We also do custom. So we had a mama that loved the fall florals, but also really loves horses. And so do her children. And so she asked if we could do anything with that in mind. And we came up with this misty equine cover, and I love it so much. So we will probably be making this a permanent cover option in the shop. And she chose her own words here in the back that she wanted to include. So anything you guys can dream up, we can try and make for you. You can see we chose to do spiral binding like this. I've tried metal coil bindings, those double coils. I've had curriculum like that. I've had planners like that. And I just always came into some issues with the covers coming off or just it not laying right. And so I've never had that issue with the spiral coils like this. So that's why we chose to stick with this. As we go through, I'm going to come back to the beginning. But first I wanted to show you kind of like the meat of the planner. And so this is a little bonus, but here is an example of our lesson plans. So this is our fall spread. You'll see as we go season to season that the spreads will change. And so again, just keeping you renewed, refreshed, inspired. But this is our 5-row spread for lesson plans. We also offer a 7-row And so that would look like this. And it's totally up to you what you choose. I'm not sure if it's coming through on the camera, but each of the boxes do have lines, and so they each contain 5 lines that you can notate on. If you would like those blank or in a different format, just let me know. And we left it undated and unlabeled so that you can do whatever you want. Of course, if you would like me to label it for you, I can. But keeping it this way means that throughout the year, if things change, your children add more activities, whatever it may be, that you have the freedom to change it however you want. So right now we're using it Monday through Friday across here, and I use these sections here for anything additional. Like I do this for my meal planning and any excursions that we want to do that I'm thinking of, just some extra notes here on this section. And then I use these tabs for my subjects. However, we have twins that are about to be 4, and so now that they're a little bit more involved with organized lessons, I may even switch to this 7-row planner spread, just to allow kind of to have them do their own little sections there. But you guys kind of saw a little preview, but this is a little bonus that we have. So this comes out, and this is laminated. So in order to keep the planner from being too bulky, I know a lot of people don't like having such a bulky planner, we want to have all of the lesson plans here because in case we need documentation, in case we need to refer back to it a few years from now, whatever your state may require, this is something that you can erase. So I have got these ultra fine dry erase markers. Wet erase markers are even better, but I don't need to save my weekly plans as far as like if I'm doing meal planning here. Once I'm done with the week, I don't need 52 weeks of meal plans. I can just write out my plans, erase them, and then start over the next week. So we have on this side a daily planner, and so we have some opportunities to prioritize, a brain dump section, to-do list, and any notes. And again, you could cross it out as you go, you could erase as you go, but this is a really cool option, this little insert, and we can choose to do it just as an insert where you can have it out, display it somewhere else, keep it on the table somewhere. We don't need to add this ability to pop it in and out of the planner, but if you would like that, it's always convenient. And I just think this is such a great idea. Remember, the front and back covers are also laminated, so you can write on those as well. So the back covers do come with this as the back cover, so you have an area to take notes if you wanted to use a dry erase marker. But how cool is that? It saves so much space, and you can also take it out of your planner. I love this so much. I was so excited when I thought of it. I haven't seen anyone else offering it, and I hope you guys love it. So we're going to go now to the beginning of the planner. When you open this up, you're going to see this. So this planner that I have here was our first planner that I printed out, and we've made a couple updates. So I'm just showing you guys here. This is something that means something to me, but we can leave it blank or we can add something that you want written here. I have, how will my children remember this time with me? That's something really important to me. How, when they look back on their homeschooling years with me, how will they describe it? And my goal is that they will love it and that they will remember it as being a time where they just loved learning. And if I'm not staying true to that, then I need to adjust. And so that's always a good reminder for me when I open up my planner. You guys are going to see, like I said, some things that we did a little different than you might be used to. But here on this side, we have our full year planner. It goes from July to June. But actually, we have a bonus month in the lesson plans and monthly plans. We actually go all the way through July. Here in this section here, you're going to see we did it in this block form. And a little something about me, we learned this past year that I had undiagnosed ADHD. And, I could have gone my whole life without ever knowing that that's what I had. But I could have flown under the radar. I did fly under the radar. Also, I did really well in school, and that's a common misconception that you can't do well in school just because you have ADHD. It's just that I learned a lot of adaptive strategies and I didn't realize that's what I was doing. And so something that is really good, not only for people who are neurodivergent, but also I feel like anyone could benefit, is being able to zero in on your focus. And so if this was a crowded page in list form or paragraph form of all the important things I need to remember for the year, important dates, important notes, my brain gets a little overwhelmed. And so the reason it's like this is if I'm in the middle of September and I'm in my plans here, and I just want to flip back and see, is there anything important that I had listed for October to keep in mind? I don't have to look at anything else on this page except for right there. So I can block everything out. I don't have to scan down to find October. It's just boom, right there. Like whose birthdays were in July or June? You know, you can just go straight to where you're trying to go and you don't have to get distracted with anything else. So I also did that with the websites and logins. So same thing, we don't have to scan anything. If I know my daughter got logged out of her school app or our language learning app, whatever it is, boom, I know exactly where to look. It's so fast. And so I hope you guys, if you haven't used something like that before, I hope you see how beneficial it could be. I love having that. Here we have a contact sheet. Obviously we can organize our contacts alphabetically or whatever we want to do, and that's a little easier, so it's in a more simple format like this. We can add as many of these pages as you need, just let me know. Here we have our school, so you can write the name of your school, whatever you want there at the top. Then I have a section for culture, info, so this could be like if you have a school ID number, whatever you might need, official info right there. We have a space for inspiration and a space for goals. And so what I'm going to be doing here, it's totally up to you, but I'm going to be listing out some mamas that I follow that if I'm ever feeling like I'm in a rut, especially we have the two little ones, and so for like small world play, it's always nice for me to have a reference page of who I can look to get inspired. But you could use inspirational words, whatever you want there. And then here for goals, you could do concrete goals, but what I'm going to do is something more similar to what you saw at the front of my planner, which will be just kind of how I want us to be feeling throughout the entirety of our homeschool year. Now here we're going to get into curriculum planning. First off, we have a space to brainstorm curriculum ideas. So if you're not familiar with this, this is a bullet journal style sheet. And so what's great about bullet journal style pages is that you can make it into whatever you want. So ideas come big and small. If something's really important, you can write it a lot bigger. You could outline it in a big old block. You could have something a little smaller here, whatever it might be. And I have up here subjects, and then your final curriculum picks can be listed down here. You could do 1 page per each student. You could do 1 page per each season, whatever you might need. But this is kind of the place to like brain dump all your ideas and then finally narrow it down to your final picks. We are also going to be including a sheet that has all your final picks where it's math, language arts, science, etc. My little ones are just waking up, so you might hear them in the video. This is a section for resources, so the item and cost. So here we'll be listing not only our curriculums, how much they costed, and if we used, some schools you might get funds if you're under a charter school, or obviously most of us are just buying it ourselves, and so it's always great to keep track of your costs. We also, besides just the curriculum that we pick, we also have a lot of like wooden resources for our little ones, and so I definitely need to keep better track, and so I'm hoping that I will make great use of these pages. You'll see we've planned out for about 5 students, so there's 5 of each of these pages. We can do less or more depending on what you need, and then we always wanted to include a notes page for each section so that you can do whatever you need here. One suggestion could be if you have state requirements that you want to list out, you could list that here in the beginning of the planner. Now we're getting into record keeping. And so this is our version of our attendance sheet. We kept it very simple. We have July through June and then 1 through 31. You have space here to do a key if you wanted to. You just check off which days you attended. Then up here we left these 2 empty, but you could put a photo of your child at the beginning of the year, a photo at the end of the year. That would be a sweet idea. I think what I'll do is probably have a picture, and then also down here I'll list out what her favorite book is, what she wants to be when she grows up, any little tidbits about her. Also, if you wanted to just turn one sheet into your school or something like that, you could have, you know, your child's final curriculum picks listed here. But again, we will be also including a page where you can list that all out. But if you wanted to, you could have it all on this page. So we have those. Then we have our lesson tracker. And so I've never done lesson tracking like this. If you're not familiar with it, if a curriculum comes with, let's say, 119 lessons, a lot of moms feel, you know, it's not necessary to write out the title of every single lesson in their planners. They just say lesson number 62. And so that will be what they write in their week-to-week plans. But they'll check them off here as they go to have a quick visual on where they are in that curriculum. So I have here student or course. You can list that there. And we have a bunch of these. If you don't track your lessons this way, this can also be used as a habit tracker, a checklist, etc. Then we have our reading list. And so we do a lot of reading, so I included a lot of these pages. We have here borrowed, own, or purchase, so you can check one of those. And then we have here loved it, good, or pass. So if your child, as you've read it with them, is just, you know, it's not going to be one that's probably a favorite in your household, then you know, planning for next year, that's something, or when your younger children come up to that age, that's something you can pass on. So we have a bunch of these. Let me go through here. Here we have a teacher style checklist spread. And so this is traditionally how maybe a teacher would do attendance or something like that, but you could really use this for anything. It could be chores, it could be habit trackers, whatever you might want to make it into. I haven't even decided what I'm going to use it for, but I know a lot of mamas love to have this. So I've left it without a title. You can title it whatever you want there. And then here is our assignment section. So this is to be used to your discretion. Our school doesn't require us to, and I say our school, we homeschool under a charter umbrella, but we do have to turn in work samples. And so what I'll be doing is, even though they're, you know, we're submitting it to them and they turn it into the state, I still want to keep record of what exactly we turned in. And so that's what I'm going to use this for. We have date, subject, assignment or assessment, and then we have remarks here. And this little column here, I was going to put grade, but then, you know, some families, grades are really something that's just not part of their homeschool philosophy, and so I don't want there to be any pressure for that to say grade. It could even just be a happy face. Did they enjoy the assignment or the project or whatever it was? But if you wanted to put a grade, or if you needed to, you could do that. That's our assignment sheet. And then we have another notes page here before we get into mapping our year. So mapping our year is where you're going to do all of your planning, your scheduling, any of that, daily schedules. Let's take a look. So as you can see, we have a few of these. I did one for each quarter, but we could do one for each child, whatever you need. But the way I envisioned it was, here we can put the times, here you can do children's names, and then each child will have their own color-coded section there. So you can, again, same concept, right, where you can just zero in on what you're trying to look at, and the colors bring you right there. Now, something important to me was the colors that we use. I wanted them all to be very soft and gentle on the eyes. So if you're thinking, if you can think back to like the classic kindergarten classroom colors, those bold colors, that's not what you're going to find here. So I'm not sure how it's coming through the camera, but they're very soft pastel colors all throughout the planner. So again, this is our daily schedule. And then we come here and you'll see this familiar design. I have labeled it as morning time or themes, but it could really be anything you want. If there's like a nature theme of the month, whatever it might be. So if we're doing butterflies, bees, and pond study, I can have that here. And so again, as you're going through the planner, you can reference here really quickly. If there's any field trips or vacations, so obviously, let's say in October, there's a couple different pumpkin patches that I wanted to visit. I can list those here and just kind of fill it out throughout the year and refer back to it. Again, if I'm planning for October, I don't have to look at any of the other details. Here's more of our bullet journal style pages for planning out your extracurricular and activity ideas. So if there's a certain science camp, if there is, like, you want to sign your kid up for soccer, if there is, you have an older child and they're in other co-ops, extracurriculars, whatever it might be, there's lots of space to plan out what you're considering and then write your final selections down at the bottom. You could do it one per each child, one per each semester. Oh, and then here, we've left this blank because you can really do whatever you want with it. But I loved the daily schedule that we came up with, that whole vibe of it. And so here, if you wanted to do planning week by week, you can do week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, etc. And if it was butterflies, bees, pond, etc., you could do it like that. If you wanted to do, if this is like where you're going to use for your history and this is going to be for science, again, week 1, week 2, week 3, you can use this to plan out your weeks. Then we have space to dream here. And this was left blank intentionally, so because everyone plans so differently. If there's anything you need, you can add that here as well. And then we're going to get into our monthly plans. Each season is going to begin with a beautiful artwork here on this side, as well as, I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera, but this side has very fine and small bullet journal style dots, and so you can make this page anything you want. You could do meal planning, whatever you want to do. Then we have here our calendar section. So I've always been a big fan of double spread or, double page spreads for my calendars. But although I love the look of it, I realized last year that I really wanted to have a calendar and then a section for notes. And so I can do either design that you want. If you want it to go across both sides, I can do that as well. But I realized I was really only needing the calendar to circle important dates and maybe like a little tiny detail here. So I didn't need all that space. Then we have down here an area for notes, and we have a bonus calendar. So if you want to tick off your attendance that way, if your school that you're under requires you to turn in monthly, you could scan this and send it in that way with, how many days you attended, absences, etc. Or you can use it how you wish. I want you to see that from month to month, not just season to season, but even from July to August, even though the season is the same general theme, the floral designs are slightly different. And that's, again, to just keep you inspired, keep you interested. It's really important to me. Now, as we get to this, I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into how we did this. So this is kind of like how your brain works and how your heart works. And this is kind of me on the page. So like I said, I have ADHD, and so something that's really important for me to keep in mind, and I feel like everyone can benefit from this, is learning to prioritize. And that might sound really easy, but for instance, for me, I love to-do lists. I'm always making lists. But in my brain, I tend to feel like everything is important. And so I'll write out a ton of stuff. And of course, there's no way I can get through everything in one day or 1 week or 1 month or whatever it might be. And so I just kind of lose the to-do list, or I just kind of let it fall to the wayside. And so something really important is if I'm in the middle of an activity, so I have a running to-do list that I add to, but if I'm in the middle of an activity and I don't want to lose focus, if I think of an idea, I will jot it down here in this brain dump section. So you might not be able to see, but there's little dots here, again, bullet journal style. And you can just add your ideas at any time here, and you'll get to it later. You'll organize it within your to-do list. You'll think about it later, but you're going to write it down here and you'll come back. So you have your running to-do list, but these are your top 3 priorities. And so even though you might want to get to these things, you know that you have to do these. And you guys might have seen this as well in the daily planner here. Same thing from day to day. I have another example here, but this is our lighter fall design. But your top priorities, those are the things you have to get done. And that's really important. Oh, this was a sample that I had of meal plans that you could do. Then we have purchase lists separate from your to-do list. Again, it's so important to like keep things separate in my mind so that it's not too cluttered. Up here we have a section, it used to be called Mama's Corner, but now it just says remember, but that's basically what it is. So if there is a quote, a verse, anything that you want to put up here to just keep at the top of your mind as you refer back and forth during the month of July, you can have that there. And that's just kind of how you can kind of organize your thoughts here on this side. So this is the brain side. And as we move over here to the heart side, this is our July reflections. It was really important to me that as I'm going through our homeschool year, that I'm not just focused on what the kids are learning, but also the memories that we're making. And here it's kind of like an area where you can journal a little bit. So if you are not familiar with our story and our name, the Mushy Mama comes from, the Mushies is a shortened version of our last name, and it also became the nickname we used when we were going through a really intense, sort of crazy of a story fertility journey. And when we finally got our few frozen embryos, we named them kind of affectionately as our little Mushies. And so I'm also just an incredibly sentimental person, and so the Mushy Mama is what stuck all these years, and that's where we got the name. And so that's a little bit of what's here. For instance, I don't just want to document that my daughter read such and such book. If that was the first book, like I remember the first book she read and how her face looked, how excited she was, how she wanted to show everyone that she knew, her grandparents, whoever it was, that she read a book and she wanted to read it to everyone. And so I want to document that here and, you know, not just check it off a list. I want to document the feeling behind it. And at the end of the year, you can take all of the reflection pages out and just, if you wanted to, just crop that out and you have a little, you know, a little book of all your little memories that you've made. Even for older children, you know, if they're entering into a science fair or they open up their first little online business, whatever it might be, this is a space to document the heart behind what you're doing. And I just love that so much. Down here we have, you can use it as a habit tracker or whatever you want, but a little place for self-care for you. Then we have here what went well, what to work on. And for instance, I remember when I realized my daughter thrives with auditory learning styles. And so that was something I wanted to keep in mind for the following months once I figured that out. And I remember she was having a really hard time with handwriting, and she just did not enjoy it. So it wasn't something I wanted to force her to do, but it was something that I needed to find a better solution to. And so we found a better curriculum, and now she loves it. She does handwriting all the time. Down here at the bottom is a space to just jot whenever you want something that you're grateful for. And I purposely kept the reflections page right here next to the overview instead of at the end of the month, because I want you, as you're coming back here, to take time to remember, oh, maybe I should jot that down, that thing that we did, or, you know, that special memory made, something I'm grateful for, instead of waiting until the end of the month. This just kind of keeps us accountable and reminds us to fill it out as we're going through. So again, these are our lesson plans. So this is for summer. And then we're going to get into August. You can see, like I said, it's slightly different. And this color scheme is different for each month as well. So I'll just go through now and kind of do a quicker flip through for you so you can see all the months. This is September. As I'm going through, oh, and don't forget, we also have the 7-row spread option. So this would be 5, and this is 7. And you can choose that. The paper itself is a beautiful, smooth, bright white 32-pound paper. I have not had issues with any bleed with the pens that I use. And so I'm sure you're gonna love touching it as much as I do. This is our October spread. You can see florals changing up just a bit. Then we'll get to our November. And then we'll have our winter spread. December. Here are the lesson plans for December. Then we have January. This is our early spring. So my husband and I were born and raised in Hawaii. Once January is over up here in what we call the mainland, we're ready. We're ready for it to be spring. And so even though February is not technically spring, I've started an early spring section. So we start that in February. This is my oldest daughter's favorite of all the spreads. I think you can guess why. It's got a lot of pastel pinks and purples and blues. Then we have our March here. Then we get to the second part of our spring. So, spring part 2. And that's for our April. Here's what the lesson plans look like. And then we have May. Now the planner doesn't come with tabs, but if you'd like me to add them, you can reach out and let me know and I can go over some options for you, or you can add your own tabs. Now we have our summer spread, and so that's going to be our June and July. And we homeschool year round, but the charter that we're under does not, obviously. And so for me, again, with the way that my brain works, if nothing's requiring me to keep track of what I'm doing, I will often forget. So this is my favorite of all the spreads, and I used this summer spread at the end instead of at the beginning, just to keep me accountable. So I'll actually want to come back and fill it out, even if my school is not requiring me to. Look at this beautiful spread. Something about it, it just speaks to me. I love this one so much. So then we have July as well. And so this gives you enough time if you need to order your planner for the next year. You can get all the way through July. And then the very last section of the planner is our notes section. So here we have just a quick little space for you to write a letter to your children. And again, I think any opportunity you have to keep these memories is so special. And so for like when your children are older and they look back, maybe they decide they want to homeschool their kids, I just think this would be so special to have, is after every year a letter from their mom telling them about what, her favorite memories and what she was so proud of them for and what it meant to her heart to be able to have this time with them. I just think that's another special moment that we can have with them. Then we have here our notes pages. So there are various different styles. If you don't want just one type, or if you don't specify, I'll give you a combination. So there's 6 sheets of each. Those were our lined pages. These are our graph paper, chart paper style bullet journal pages. There's 6 of these. Then we have a blank stationery style page. And our last one is our very fine bullet journal style. These are just all the dots. And so you can make those sort of pages into anything you want. We'll get to the last page here. And this is just some contact information where you can order your planner for the next year. Again, this is the back cover that we first printed, but remember that it does come now with the line pages. So you could use your dry erase marker here for any notes. That will be the back of that cover. And here's what it looks like without anything written on the back, but I will be adding my little special quote there for myself. Alright, so that was our planner. Again, this is the seasonal floral watercolor design. We have a few other designs coming up. We have a forest one themed. We have a forest themed one. We also have a wildflower themed design that we're doing. And remember that any of the designs that you see, we can do an undated version, completely undated, where you fill out the calendar, or we can do a completely dated version. So that's no additional cost. We just, let us know which version you want to do. Any other customization requests or any questions, let me know. We have down in the description below our contact information. You could follow us on Instagram and message me there as well. But ultimately, I hope you guys enjoyed looking through this. I can't wait to get it into the homes of the mamas that are looking for it. Again, if you have been searching like I was for so long for a planner that not only had the organization bits to it, but also the element of beauty on every page, I really hope that you see all the love that I poured into this. And if you guys want to tag us, that would be great as well. I'd love to see how you're filling it out, not just with your lessons, but with the sweet memories that you're making with your kids. Again, my name is Cherie, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks again for watching.